Hello and welcome to the news on NTAi International. I am Dennis Adigunloye. Thanks for joining us. Let's begin with the headlines. ECOWAS holds 67th Ordinary Session with focus on regional integration. Nigeria paves way for Gambia's agricultural revolution, aiming at food security. And rising tensions in the Middle East, US strikes spark global condemnation of war. President Maada Bio of Sierra Leone has taken over the chairmanship of ECOWAS as President Bola Tinubu ends his two-term tenure. His election was announced during the 67th Ordinary Session of the Heads of States and Governments in Abuja. President Bola Tinubu reiterated his support for the ECOWAS cause for peace and security, saying regional integration is meaningful when there is regional security, as transborder crimes and violent extremism impede its development. President Tinubu said the unity of the region is a testament to the spirit that keeps the nation and is committed to its stability. While he calls for the timely activation of the ECOWAS standby force, President Tinubu recommitted to the provision of the equipment that will boost both the sea and airlift force.
Under my chairmanship, I've deployed all diplomatic means to engage and dialogue with our brothers in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. I am confident that before too long, they may return to the family as we leave our doors open for the unity, solidarity, and shared vision of ECOWAS of the future.
I accept this responsibility with full awareness of the magnitude and of the task ahead, and also the complexity of the moment. Let me begin by recognizing the outstanding leadership of my predecessor, my dear brother, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for the great work he's done. Your tenure was marked by unwavering commitment to regional dialogue, economic recovery, and peace building. I'm humbled to build upon the strong foundation you have established. Thank you for your experience, leadership.
President Maada Bio, the new chairman of the ECOWAS. Meanwhile, the Gambia is seeking collaboration with Nigeria to develop its agricultural plans, policies, and programs. The request was forwarded to the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security by a delegation from the Gambia. Musa Baba Aliu has details.
This is a delegation from the Gambia visiting the Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security in Abuja. The objective of the visit is to learn about Nigeria's food security programs. Led by the Gambian Minister of Agriculture and Livestock Development, Dambel Sabali, the delegation was welcomed by the ministers Abubakar Kyari and Aliu Sabi Abdullahi. Sabali expressed the Gambia's interest in understanding Nigeria's advancements in crop production, especially rice, to bolster their own agricultural efforts.
Gambia's trajectory to rice self-sufficiency is 2030 at the most, and at this point, I think our trip has doubled our confidence that rice self-sufficiency in the Gambia is very, very possible with support from Nigeria.
Abubakar Kyari affirmed Nigeria's commitment to providing support, highlighting the country's leadership in food production across West Africa. He welcomed the Gambia for initiating the collaborative effort to enhance food production and drive economic growth. Kyari outlined Nigeria's progress in food security under President Bola Tinubu, who upon taking office in 2023 declared a state of emergency on food security and restructured the ministry to prioritize addressing food insecurity. He emphasized the ministry's focus on mechanization to transform agriculture into sustainable business and attract youth participation.
Gambia is one of ours. We need to partner, we need to collaborate. We're not going there to just have an ambassador there to teach you, but also to partner with you. We want a situation where we uplift out of our experiences, uplift the livelihoods of both Nigerians and Gambians.
Your coming here has also given us more confidence as a nation that when we look inwards, we can solve our own problem. And that we have success stories today that another country wants to learn, and not just another country, but the Gambia, our own brothers. I think it's really the height of it.
The Gambia, heavily reliant on food imports, aims to boost local production of staple foods through this collaboration with Nigeria. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTAi News.
Nigeria, at the 51st session of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC Council of Foreign Ministers in Istanbul, has demanded for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and the adoption of a two-state solution as the path to lasting peace. Nigeria's delegation was led by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Umar Ahmed Dunama. Nigeria also proposed establishing an OIC Arab League Secretariat to monitor ceasefire compliance and advance peace talks. The host nation, Turkey, a vocal advocate for Palestine, echoed Nigeria's calls while showcasing its diplomatic leadership. The summit also highlighted Turkey's growing economic and tourism sector, with Istanbul set to host the 2025 PATA Annual Summit to promote sustainable tourism. Now, the federal government has finalized arrangements to evacuate Nigerian nationals from the Islamic Republic of Iran with the support of the Armenian government. A statement by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirms that the chargé d'affaires of the Embassy of Nigeria in Iran, Abdul Rashid Lawal, and Levon Petrosian, the acting director, Middle East and Africa Division, initiated the request for safe passage of Nigerians stranded in Iran. The compassionate gesture by Armenia highlights the importance of international solidarity and humanitarian cooperation during crises. Let's go to the US now, where President Donald Trump has given reasons why sites of Iranian nuclear facilities were attacked by the US Army, saying Iran must make peace or future attacks will be far greater. Kolo Mohammed tells us more.
Following a U.S. military attack on Iran, responses for and against the attack have emerged. Only Israel says the attack was lawful and timely. The rest of the global superpowers like China, Russia, and the UK say American attack will only escalate the crisis, calling on all parties to agree to an immediate ceasefire. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer warns of risk beyond the region from the conflict after U.S. attacks on Iran. He called for restraint in response to U.S. strikes on Iran. China strongly condemns U.S. bombing of Iran, saying the U.S. broke international law with its airstrike and increasing tensions in the Middle East.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed.
There is no red line that they have not crossed. And the last one, and the most dangerous one, was happened only last night, when they crossed a very big red line by attacking nuclear facilities. I don't know how much room is left for diplomacy.
Iranian Foreign Ministry says there cannot be ceasefire talks while a nation is under military attack. Kolum Hamad, NTAi News.
A regulatory agency has announced that the Democratic Republic of Congo has extended its ban on cobalt exports for 3 months. The measure is aimed at curbing an oversupply of the key material in the manufacture of batteries for electric vehicles. Here again is Kolo Mohammed with details.
Democratic Republic of Congo, the world's largest supplier of cobalt, imposed a 4-month export ban in February after prices hit a 9-year low of just $10 per pound. The ban was originally set to end on Sunday. However, a decision was taken to extend a temporary suspension due to the continued high level of stocks on the market, the Strategic Mineral Substance Market Regulation and Control Authority said in a statement. It also announced that another is planned before the end of the 3-month extension on the banned export to either lift the suspension or extend it. Meanwhile, reports say Turkish border towns are bracing up for possible influx of Iranian refugees triggered by escalated conflicts, with some fearing strained resources while others prepare to accommodate those fleeing westward. On Turkish eastern urge, the border town of Dokubayazid is watching events across the frontier with growing anxiety. Just 20 kilometers from Iran, residents here fear they may soon be on the front lines of a new humanitarian crisis. Kolum Hamad, NTAi News.
In other news, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, is poised to develop a national risk atlas for Nigeria to drive its disaster risk reduction strategy and foster sustainable recovery for communities impacted by disasters. Director General of the agency, Zubeida Umar, stated this when she received the management of the Japan International Cooperation, JICA, to further discuss more areas of collaboration and support. Ilyasu Aliyakubu reports.
In view of the recurrent floods and other related disasters that continue to hit Nigeria, the government of Japan, through JICA, in 2014 provided a 500 million Japanese yen grant to the federal government, as part of which is to support disaster management activities of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. 6 high-tech mobile water treatment plants, 9 rapid response vehicles, and 2 mobile command vehicles equipped with a wide-ranging gear to support disaster response and relief operations were delivered to NEMA. Under this sustainable initiative, JICA followed up these assets and equipment with routine maintenance, operational staff training, and a comprehensive insurance cover. This collaborative meeting between NEMA and JICA is to further consolidate and strengthen support based on the emerging flood disasters. The DG NEMA said the agency looks forward to sustaining the partnership with JICA to improve on service delivery, especially in the areas of disaster preparedness, response, mitigation, and building back better to brace up to the currently upscale disaster profile of Nigeria.
I want to use this opportunity to therefore thank and appreciate JICA and the government and good people of Japan for this tremendous support to NEMA and the people of Nigeria in the face of climate-induced disasters and conflicts in several hotspots across the country.
Chief Representative of JICA Nigeria, Yuzurio Susumo, promised to continuously extend support to NEMA in the fight against disasters across the country.
Our aim is to nurture the strong institution, government institution, to get good preparation for disaster and a good swift response for disaster.
Experts believe that with more of these collaborations, NEMA will be better placed in building resilience among Nigerians. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliyakubu, NTAi News.
The Federal Ministry of Environment has unveiled a fleet of compressed natural gas and electric vehicles in a stride towards Nigeria's clean energy future. Charles Alpha reports that the ministry also used the occasion to celebrate the dedication of those working tirelessly to promote a greener Nigeria.
This development marks a milestone in Nigeria's broader commitment to achieving net zero emission by 2060. The inauguration of these compressed natural gas and electric vehicles is believed will not only address logistical hurdles faced by its staff, but its adoption as a cleaner mobility solutions by the ministry underscores its role in setting standards for greener innovation and environmental stewardship across public institutions. Minister Balarabe Abbas Lawal said the initiative highlights President Tinubu's integrated approach to environmental governance, recognizing people as key drivers of policy implementation while reinforcing the importance of sustainable practices.
This is basically part of what has been approved by the Executive Council, that is trying to reduce emission in our environment. And as Minister of Environment, we believe that we should be the one that should set the face.
The Honourable Minister came, the Permanent Secretary, and they made the promises. We thought it was going to go the way of the former promises, just like political promises. But we are very grateful that today it has come to reality.
The launch was held alongside the 2024 Rewards and Recognition Ceremony. The dual ceremony reflected the ministry's effort to motivate personnel while reinforcing the link between internal operational excellence and national environmental goals.
We just say, let us just call them, even if there is nothing, let us just eat and drink and also say we appreciate you and give them a certain, know that at least the ministry appreciates them.
There's need for us to begin to separate between, like I said, the flyers. There are people who are really doing well and they should fly. And there are people who are not doing as well, and I believe they should walk.
We wish that they continue with this.
It is hoped that the launch of this CNG and the reward and recognition initiative of the ministry will spur more commitment to Nigeria's environmental sustainability drive. Charles Alpha, NTAi News.
This is the news on NTAi International. We'll take a break. More reports in a moment. Stay with us. You're welcome back. President Bola Tinubu expresses sadness over the suicide bombing in Konduga, Borno State at the weekend. The president mourns those who lost their lives and urges security agencies to double their efforts in routing remnants of the Boko Haram insurgents who resort to attacks on soft targets as a diversionary tactic. The president also sympathized with the families of those killed or injured by an explosion on Saturday morning in Kano. The explosion at a scrap metal factory affected 15 people, with 5 of them losing their lives. President Tinubu stressed the importance of workplace safety measures and tasked relevant government institutions with investigating the incidents. The presidency has refuted claims of former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, who allegedly accused President Bola Tinubu of purportedly supporting the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election. The presidency, in a statement by the special advisor to the president, Bayo Onanuga, dismissed these claims as historical distortions and revisionism, clarifying that Alhaja Mogaji never supported the annulment and risked losing her position as a market leader if she had. The statement contrasts Tinubu's actions with Lamido's, noting that Lamido, as SDP secretary, failed to oppose the military's annulment of the election won by MKO Abiola. It says Tinubu, as a senator, publicly condemned the annulment of the Senate on the Senate floor in August of 1993, describing it as a coup and urging Nigerians to reject injustice. Tinubu's commitment to the June 12th struggle continued after General Sani Abacha's coup in November 1993, which dissolved democratic institutions. The statement concludes by urging Lamido to verify facts before spreading falsehoods, suggesting his claims stem from envy of Tinubu's democratic credentials, possibly indicative of tall poppy syndrome. It emphasizes Tinubu's steadfast advocacy for democracy in stark contrast to Lamido and others who capitulated to military oppression, and warns against revisionism that undermines truth and national interests. Now, civil servants have been told to remain sincere, incorruptible and professional in the discharge of their duties. This was the admonition at the Civil Service Week Thanksgiving service, led by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, DD Esther Wilson-Jack. Haman Jabani reports.
The Thanksgiving service, attended by senior civil servants, including permanent secretaries, was led by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, DD Esther Wilson-Jack. The event aimed to appreciate God for the successes recorded so far and to seek divine guidance for the journey ahead. Delivering a sermon titled Living in Joy and Gratitude, Pastor Yakubu Adamu of the Family Worship Center emphasized that giving thanks keeps one in the will of God. He stated that gratitude brings fulfillment of promises, strengthens faith, fosters peace, promotes good health, and qualifies one for greater blessings. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation highlighted the visible hand of God in the affairs of the service over the past year, seeing through policy implementations, ongoing reforms, and the daily efforts of civil servants who work behind the scenes to keep government running smoothly.
We want to appreciate God for how far He has led us, for all He's enabled us to do. And of course, as we have been charged today, we want grace to do much more. We are asking God to enable us to work for our country, Nigeria, with the passion, with integrity, and with all in us to make Nigeria great.
I pray that not one of you civil servants will be ashamed when you stand before God. I don't want to be ashamed. That He will not say to you, "Depart from me, I never knew you, you worker of iniquity." Rather, He will say, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." That is my prayer for you, that you so work for God and don't work for man. Be honest, be sincere, and serve our country with all your heart and with integrity.
A special prayer was offered for the civil servants by the senior pastor of the church.
Speak for them. Yes. When they are not present and somebody is meeting on their account, let it say for them.
Haman Jabani, NTAi News.
Minister of State for Works, Bello Mohamed Goronyo, says public-private partnerships remain the only viable pathway to closing Nigeria's infrastructural gap, given the country's enormous project backlog and limited fiscal capacity. Speaking at a high-level panel at the Nigeria Public-Private Partnership Summit 2025, Goronyo underscored its strategic importance to achieving the Tinubu administration's renewed hope agenda. Usman Zubairu has more.
The two-day summit hosted by the Infrastructure Concessions Regulatory Commission, ICRC, had themed the role of public-private partnerships in delivering the renewed hope agenda. The summit brought together policymakers, investors, and industry leaders to deliberate on the evolving infrastructure landscape in Nigeria and the opportunity it presents globally. Minister of State for Works, Bello Goronyo, provided insight on the ministry's Highway Development and Management Initiative under the PP agreements, including the 227.2-kilometer Akwanga-Lafia-Kepi corridor and the recently signed 127-kilometer Benin-Asaba route. The minister revealed that Nigeria's road network spans over 200 kilometers, with 35,000 kilometers under the federal government's purview. He disclosed that the current administration inherited over 2,600 ongoing projects, valued at about 19 trillion, a financial burden that necessitates alternative funding mechanisms such as PPPs. He further said the national budget alone cannot fund these massive projects. That is why the PP model is not just an option, but a necessity.
We can say that comfortably the Ministry of Works and of course the federal government of Nigeria will not be able to finance this good project, and therefore the PP model is the best option for Nigerian roads.
However, he stressed the importance of transparency and consensus agreements. The summit concluded with calls for deeper collaboration, improved regulatory frameworks, and a shared vision to drive sustainable development through strategic partnerships. Usman Zubairu, NTAi News.
After 7 decades of profound contributions to national development, journalists in the country now have a renewed task of promoting Nigeria's narrative first in the face of modern realities. Ayodeji Makinde reports on this, which was central at the celebration of journalistic excellence, a book presentation, and the future of the media at the Nigerian Union of Journalists at 70.
Nigeria Union of Journalists, adjudged to be a key driver to independence in 1960 and the inevitable return to democratic rule in 1999, is now up against realities, notably the threat of artificial intelligence and quackery. The convergence served as a reality check with paper presentation, launching of a book titled The Bleeding Ink, and a renewed call by President Bola Tinubu represented to all journalists to champion the cause of Nigeria's democratic progress.
The media not only honors the sacrifices that battered our democracy, but also helps to promote national cohesion and public trust in democratic institutions.
This moment reinforces the crucial responsibility of reporters to continue advocating for the robust democracy.
We cannot afford to shy away from technology. The reality is that AI will need human complementarity.
Father of the day, Aremo Olusegun Oshoba, led other experts in fields of journalism in calling for stricter sanctions on imposters.
Set up a website at which you must publish the list of those of us who are trained journalists. We are daily being embarrassed by some people who are not trained, who have no knowledge of the profession.
At a time like this, when other people are painting the narratives of Nigeria to suit their own mindset, we must say no and begin to tell our own stories in our own way.
Beyond the cultural display, 7 individuals were recognized for their outstanding contributions to the continuous development of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Abuja. Ayodeji Makinde, NTAi News.
And that concludes the news on NTAi International at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adigunloye.